I need to introduce the panel that we're with, the lovely panel of gentlemen. So I'm going to start with Omid Djalili. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Jam. Great to be here. I'm really excited, and I think this is going to be a really fun chat.
Next, I'm going to go to our resident DJ, Mr. Trevor Nelson. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very good. Nice to be on this podcast. This is a very important day for me. I never thought I'd see the day when I'll be talking about Chelsea All Black 11, having supported the club since I was 6.
Things are moving in 2022 now, you know. But now our final guest, of course, if I could even call him a guest, it's Chelsea's first ever black player, a guy that inspires me quite a lot. And he's at the forefront of the fight against racism for Chelsea to this day. Mr. Paul Canoville, how are you doing, sir?
You know what? Good evening to everybody and good evening to the panel. And you know what? I'm so honoured to be with the likes of Omid, Trevor, yourself, Jamal, and talking about Chelsea's, black players as well.
No offence, gentlemen, but, you know, I'm a little bit younger. I was born in 1992, so some of these names are, you know, not necessarily alien to me, but I haven't watched them play. So, you know, this is why we've got an expert panel with us.
Why don't we start with defence and just work our way up?
Before we even get into this, I'm just going to butt in one more time and just say one thing. So to you guys, what's most important here? Is it, I don't know, trophies that were won, individual achievements? Is it longevity? Is it character, stature? What's important here?
Quite honestly, everything, all what you said.
But I think longevity, you can't have, I don't think someone should feature if they hadn't played a certain amount of games for Chelsea in this 11. Because I think that we've had a few, you know, for example, George Weah, right? Wasn't he the Ballon d'Or winner once? Wasn't he? But when he came to Chelsea, he came at the very end of his career.
Yeah.
It's a very brief. I think we should have a criteria maybe of something like at least minimum full season, absolute minimum.
Right.
Full season.
Can has made it very clear that if we're picking Drogba's number 11 and not him, that we're also all going to be cancelled as Chelsea fans.
Oh, man.
But I've got that down, man. I'm serious.
But if we go by appearances and assists and things, Canas has only played 73 games and scored 11 goals.
I played a full season.
Put that in the mix.
I'm going with Trevor. What he said. I played a full season.
Canon, don't get aggy now. Listen, don't get aggy,
man,
bro. You shouldn't even be included. You're on a separate. Whoa! You're on a separate pedestal. No, you're on a separate pedestal as the pioneer. You're the pioneer. You shouldn't be in the 11. You should be
emotionally.
Separate.
I feel hurt, but because of the way the system is,
think about it.
How the players I played with. I understand. I'm going to accept it. I'm now going to scratch myself off.
Good.
I've just taken Canoville off my list and put in Papi Jiliboji.
Oh my God.
Name sounds like mine.
We'll go back to it then. So we were talking about the goalkeepers, and we've got a fine selection, haven't we, of many keepers. So what are we saying then, gentlemen? Any names standing out to you? Let's go.
Well, Yves Bucalambe was a good keeper, actually. I know that there's only 2 on the list.
Let's not waste time. It's Mendy's, man.
There we are. We've got our current reigning AFCON champion, Edouard Mendy. Next position, let's go centre-back. So I'm going to go with Paul, because Paul, it looked like the words were just about to come up.
I was coming up.
See it, mate.
Right. Because I've had the boy, and Omid mentioned him, Desai, and I've got Elliot, centre half, 2 of them. Desai with the strength, there wasn't too much that would go past him. He was powerful. Elliot was a reader of games as such. And I had those 2, I had them 2 as a very tough individuals to get past.
Paul Elliott, devastated when he had to retire. Devastated, club captain. He was a leader. He was he's a Rolls Royce player, mate. Seriously, I never thought we saw the best of him.
Yeah.
Like Omid said earlier, Marcel, we talk about a lot of players came to Chelsea late in their career, like on the way down, but Marcel Desailly had levels.
Desailly, we got him towards the end of his career, but if you look at some of the goals he scored a winner at White Hart Lane against Tottenham. He also, if you remember the game that was the game-changing game in Chelsea's history, the Chelsea-Liverpool, when Chelsea won 2-1. Remember, Liverpool scored first, and Desai got the equaliser with the perfectly placed header. So he was great at scoring goals. Also, he's responsible for John Terry as well. I believe really groomed John Terry to become the player he was. And he was when you saw him live, I didn't realise how amazing he was. When you see, he was totally commanding. I'm going for a back three defenders. I've got three central defenders, and for me, they are Desai. To Desai's right, I'm putting in Reece James because I've got a wing back, and on his left, it was between Rudiger and Ken Moncao, and because Rudiger was more of a right-sided defender, I'm going for Ken Moncao, who has a great left foot and is actually one of the most underrated Chelsea defenders. I think he was there when Chelsea weren't particularly exciting or successful in the early 90s, but I really rated Ken Moncao as one of the best defenders we've ever had.
He was one of the fans' favourites as well. I remember being at the '94 Cup final, and he was sitting just a few seats behind the fans. And he wasn't playing for Chelsea, I don't think. I think he was playing for Southampton then. I'm not sure. But the fans still absolutely loved him. He was like unbelievable. There's one player, though, that I don't know why, but I loved him at Chelsea. I didn't want us to sell him. And the only time in my life I ever spoke to Ken Bates was on this occasion. So I'm on Chelsea TV, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, Willie Gallas, right? I remember saying, we must not sell Willie Gallas. We must not sell Willie Gallas. I remember just arguing for Willie Gallas. I said, this guy can play left, he can play right, he can play central, right? He can be a number 5, he could be a right back, he could be a left back. He's played right across the back line for us because remember when we had too many good defenders, we were absolutely blessed with top draw defenders. And I remember after the show, the phone rang, right? And the guys got a bit scared in the studio. And they said, who? They said, it's Ken Bates. He wants to talk to you. And I'm like, look, he said, talk to who? He wants to talk to you, Trev. So I got on the phone to Ken Bates. He said, who are you? I just went, I'm nobody, mate. I'm just a DJ. He goes, you know what you're talking about. And he put the phone down and that was it. And then he sold Willie Gallas.
No. Oh, my God.
So
it's funny
I think we should mention him. I think he was...
Look, to be honest, I'm going to tell you the truth. I had Gallas down and I just scratched it off. I had Gallas down.
Gallas is
and I just saw him as an utmost defender that you're right. Play left, play right, and scored some good goals.
Scored goals.
Yeah, great shot against Tottenham.
Against Spurs,
Oh my God.
Rapid defender.
So this is where I do come to the formation because I feel like we need to pick two out of these that we've, all of these names. I mean, we've all agreed on Desai.
Yeah.
We've got Elliot. We've got Reece James, Ken Moncao.
Well,
we've got
hang on.
Well, do you want to go 4-4-2? If we're going for,
I don't know. Just stick Ashley Cole in there now.
I've definitely got Ashley Cole in there.
Oh, for left, for left wing back.
On the left,
yeah. But then it depends what system we're going. We're going back 4.
This is it.
4-4-2.
Yeah.
I think maybe 4-4-2 makes it easier. I think.
Okay, let's go 4-4-2.
Go 4-4-2. Yeah. So Reece James is right back.
Yeah.
Ashley's left back.
Yep.
Desai is the Dan in the middle, and next to Desai, we're going for Elliot.
Yeah. Are we happy with that?
I was going to give a special mention to Victor Moses because he won a championship. Victor Moses was a striker. Great striker at Wigan.
Yeah. I'll echo what you said because every Tottenham fan I know, when they got Antonio Conte, they asked me, what's he like? And I just said Victor Moses to them. Victor Moses. I'll tell you what he's like. Victor Moses was floating about for Chelsea.
Wasn't he?
In and out as a striker. Occasionally flashes of brilliance, occasionally but dead games. He had a worldie that season. And that's down to Conte. I agree with you, Omid. And I said to them, he's going to make a couple of players you've got in your squad that you think not much of. He's going to make them unbelievable in a certain position because he's that.
And
guy.
I'll say this, Trevor. The first thing Conte said to the Chelsea players. Remember, we'd had a terrible season the season before.
Yeah.
when he took over in 2016, the first thing he said, what I hear through a translator, and I learnt the Italian, which is l'uomo nobile non perdere son curo infantile, which means the noble man will never lose his childlike heart. And
Wow.
the players thought, what you're talking about? He goes, I want you to find the child in you that used to play in the back streets and in the playground. You've got to find the love for the game. And that's exactly what he did in game. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
We're going to move on to the midfield.
Right.
And
This is where it gets
looking at the
juicy.
faces, I think Trevor's
It gets juicy.
itching to go first here. Let's go, Trevor. What are you saying?
Let me start. I mean, I'm looking through the list right now. Should we start with defensive mid? So obviously, Makelele invented the position, right? Makelele was unappreciated at Real Madrid. They sold him, paid him the least in the whole squad, and then they didn't win shit after he left, right?
Right.
Because Maka was that important. And Makelele, I asked a couple of players at the time at Chelsea, who's the most gifted player in training? And a couple of them said to me, you're never going to believe this, Makelele.
Wow.
I said, shut up. He's never got the ball long enough. He just moves it on. I said, no, man. This guy, you don't get the ball off him. He gets the ball off you, and he passed it on. So Maka, and then we got, all of a sudden, Kante came. So Kante put another dimension on that position. So I'm torn, right? I am so torn between Maka and Kante. I have to say, it's a toughie, man. But only one of them can.
Did you put them two together?
You can't. No, you can't. You can't. I don't think you can.
It's the one holding the midfielder.
It's one, man. I think you've got to go. You've got to go for Kante. I'm going for Kante just because he is superhuman. I think Maka had more ball skills. Maka was just like a controlling. He was just, you never even noticed him in the game, right? But Kante, you can't not notice Kante. When he's not in our team, the energy levels in our team, you've seen it. They go right down. They plummet.
Well, I've got to say, I had Mackie and Kante. For me, Mackie was the daddy cool. Trust me. Played it easy, won it, played the ball easy. I looked at them two, and then I still looked at, and I know you might say he never finished the season, was Essien.
Yeah, what do you mean he never finished the season?
Did he never?
He got play somewhere else in midfield.
Bruv, the man was like a tiger, a lion. Sorry, not a tiger, a lion.
Right
Every time I asked about what is this guy like in training, Paul, you wouldn't want to play him when you was playing it back in the day. And I said that from looking at his game, you had to cool him down because he was so physical. He was giving them so many fouls. They had to have a talk with him. You know what I mean? He was getting yellow cards regular. But after that, I mean, the goal he scored, Barcelona, out of this world.
One of the greatest goals ever scored.
Then I've got Gullit. I've got Gullit.
Yeah, but...
Go on, Omid. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just let's go back on Kante. I would say I would choose Kante over Makelele because Kante can score goals.
Yeah.
And that's great. Yeah, he can score goals. Makelele, if you remember, Makelele had one rebound from a penalty against Charlton, and the whole team jumped on top of him. Yeah. He never even came close to scoring. So Kante scored from outside the area inside. And the goal against Man United when the 4-0, when he just skipped through.
Great goal.
Confident.
So and also, I would say his focus. I got to do a special. There was a cancer day at Chelsea, and we got into a huddle. There was lots of players there. Gary Cahill was there. David Luiz and N'Golo Kante got on so well because David Luiz spoke French, and they would speak. And he was saying, "We must never do anything until N'Golo speaks." Then he would say to me, "N'Golo is mute. N'Golo never says anything." So we get into a huddle. He goes, "So let's have some words of inspiration from N'Golo," and there would be silence. Then you go, "Thank you, N'Golo." He just never said a word. N'Golo Kante never says a word. And he goes, brilliant. And David Luiz said he never speaks because he is so focused. He's focused on the game. He's fantastic. The Brazilian way of saying fantastic, he is fantastic. He is fantastic, and I love him. So I would play, I agree with Canas that you have to play Kante and Essien. Essien is a beast, and I've got a bit of information for you. If you remember, Ghana in the World Cup of 2006 were beating everyone left, right, and centre. Then they played a last 16 game against Brazil, and Essien was suspended for the game. And the Brazilians won the game 3-0, but they had a rough time. And they all said, had Essien been playing, we would have got beaten.
Yeah. Love the play.
It's got to be Kante and Essien in the middle. Yeah. And we've got one more. I like Gullit, though. I think Gullit's a great idea.
In the front.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw in a bit of a wild card there. Just someone just to pay our respects to, because this guy, he's never the first name we always think of. John Obi.
I thought you were going to say Terry Phelan.
John Obi Mikel. I mean, he was what a legend. Shut up shop. I think that's a general agreement on that. Essien and Kante centre mid, and big up to the other guys we mentioned too. But what are we saying about the two wingers then? Because I think this could get a bit spicy. What are we saying?
Whoa.
When we say wingers, do we call them wingers or wing backs? Which one?
Well,
that's what we call them. Because
wingers, 100% for this. Wingers.
Do you put Malouda in that category?
Well, that's the same thing. I was thinking Malouda and then Solomon, but then Solomon, I didn't know whether he was a winger or a striker. So,
Sean Wright Phillips was a winger, straight up winger, right? Solomon, to me, Solomon Kalou was a winger more than a striker.
Right.
You know, he sometimes all of a sudden looked like Anelka sometimes, you know what I mean? But most of the time he's out on the wing.
We've got Malouda, Paul Canoville, Willian, and...
You brought Paul Canoville back in the picture. What are you doing?
What do you mean? He couldn't leave me out.
He's on the bench.
He's a choice. He's a
choice. Okay.
Wing.
Okay.
Wing. Okay. All right. Good mention. I'll give you that one.
Oh man, and obviously Sean Wright, who was in and out all the time.
David Rocastle.
Yeah, I've got him as well. But was Rocastle winger or in the front three midfield?
I think Malouda was an out and out. Wasn't that Malouda an out and out winger?
Yeah,
he was an out and out winger. Money. I say because of that, Malouda gets in there.
Okay.
I don't know, but on his day, when you look at peak Malouda and peak Canoville, if you look at the players who make you jump out your seat, you see
Canners,
the impact of Canners at that time. He was so good. I didn't even realize at the time he was the first black Chelsea player. I didn't even realize. I just thought this guy's amazing. But I will give it to Malouda because when I confronted Canners about a hat-trick he scored against Swansea on December the 6th, 1983. He had absolutely no memory of any of the goals he scored. So for that, he disqualifies himself.
He went raving that night. He drank typical Canners, right? He had some rum. He had some rum and coke, too much. And the day before was a mystery.
That was a score. Like I didn't even realize that I scored 3, and it was a cross. And when it went in, it was a cross, and everybody thought, "Hold on, Paul, you went for goal, didn't you?" So I told him, yeah, of course I went for goal. That was the cross to the far post. And you know what? It was a case, right? After the game, when the whistle was blown, I was walking straight off, going off the game. And the referee come up to me and he gave me the ball. And I was like, what are you giving me this for? I'm like, what's wrong? What's this for? He said, you scored a hat-trick. Oh, all right. And I took it inside to the change room. And then the lads, Canners, mate, go next door, get it signed by Swansea, and we'll sign it. And trust me, that was such an honour because I didn't know what to do with this ball. And it was taking it home. You can imagine, I was a young boy on the train still, taking home a match ball. And people were watching me like, what's he doing? He's a big one for this match ball in his head. And I took it home and I took it straight to my mum and gave it to her. That's how honoured I was. And don't get me wrong, it's still in the cabinet now. So, yeah.
But Canners, that is beautiful. But let's be honest, that's a Chris Kamara moment when he didn't realize the player was sent off. You put the cross in, you thought I didn't know it was a goal.
I didn't know it was a
Chris Kamara moment.
Go on, move on.
Let's put Canoville. I think Canoville for personality, impact,
and also
goals scored, and his personality, he's got to be.
And he's got a big suite at Chelsea. half the flipping East
The
Stand.
biggest suite in the universe.
The biggest suite in the universe. So we're putting them in there.
I love that now. Sorry, there's no more that would be done there. Sorry, thank you. Well done.
All right.
No, that's
What about the other
that's
side?
brilliant.
Now, for me, the next side, I know it's controversial. It's got to be Willian. There's nobody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got no problem with Willian. No problem. Peak Willian.
Yeah.
Peak Willian used to get me off of my seat.
But what was the problem? Can we just talk about Willian? Because I never understood the hate this guy got. I always he had a couple of bad games, but what was the beef with Willian? I never understood it.
I don't know where you sit, because I never felt actual hate for Willian. I think I actually thought he got artificial love initially because he nearly signed for Spurs, right? So the song was all about Willian, right? So Willian got a song before he proved himself, just because he nearly signed for Spurs and we got him off Spurs last minute, if you remember.
If I was playing, I would have loved to supply Drogba. He would have had goals, a lot of goals from his head, from my crosses, even though they were wayward sometimes. But I would have practiced so much just to get to Drogba and looked up and to feed him. So, I'm telling you, every time the way Drogba was in that box, I would have loved to play with him. Yeah, definitely.
And what a human being. I think that's someone... I remember I was very lucky to meet him once. He was introduced to me and I said, Didier, I thought you were Welsh when I first heard you. He said, why? Why did you think I was Welsh? I said, because in the newspapers, on the news, they said Ivorian Didier Drogba. I thought it was Ivor Ian Didier Drogba. I thought you were Welsh. And he looked at me and he said, that is the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, man.
Can we have a few words from my boy, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank? Just a few.
Go for it.
Well, all right, I'll go for it. I thought I was asking you to do it. But Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, one of the greediest strikers you'll meet in world football. When he was playing with Ida Johnson, loved those two playing together. Those two, when they were playing for Chelsea, they were my happiest Chelsea days and memories, because I loved that team. I loved that team because we were the nearly team. There's something about being a nearly team and the expectation not being, we're going to win the league. The expectation was, we could win the league, but I know we're not going to. You know what I mean? But Jimmy was so greedy. He had a big arse. He used to stick it out, bump everyone off him. And that hat-trick he scored, was it at Old Trafford? Where was it? Was it Old Trafford or Tottenham? The header, the left foot, right foot header. The guy was greedy for goals, man.
He took everything. Free kicks he wanted, penalties he wanted. I've never seen five as a player. The boy had five.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it was one day, we, ex-players, we played that Cobham. And I'm not lying, I was playing out. I said, oh my God, got Ken Moncala, we got Aspak. And Aspak still took it that serious. When a free kick, you can have it. That's how eager he was. He was on it, and it was just an little game down at the Cobham. And it was like, I was so honoured to be playing next to him. It was like, this guy's fires. He can hit a shot.
Yeah, man. What's the 11?
So, I've actually written it down. Amongst all that talking, I was trying to take notes and see exactly what we've got here. But I'm going to go from back to front. So we've got Edouard Mendy. Right back, we've got Reece James. Centre back, we've got Marcel Desailly, as well as Paul Elliott. Left back, we've got Ashley Cole. Didn't really get a chance to speak about him, but we all know what he's about. Two centre mids, we've got N'Golo Kante and Michael Essien. Right wing, we've got Willian. Left wing, we've got yourself, Canners. And then up front, we've got Hasselbank and Didier Drogba. I mean,
we put them both there. We put them.
We put them both.
Love it.
Those two are not letting go.
No one is bullying that team. No one is bullying that. Let me tell you now, Roy Keane could be in the tunnel with Vieira, all of them on the same team. We ain't intimidated.
And here's my impression of Hasselbank during kickoff. Ross Barkley, who is 1/4 Nigerian, and when I asked him what on earth makes you Nigerian, he just looked at me and he said, wow, what are you talking about?
faceycreative.com